cheated on him, thinking it was harmless fun, but his unexpected revenge shattered my life. Everything I had built was destroyed by my stupid decision to have a little fun because it wouldn't hurt anybody. But here I am reaching out to all of you to understand and advise me because there is no one left for me where I would go and speak and seek support or just a hug and some nice words. I will tell you everything, but first let me introduce myself. I am 30 years old. I met my husband when I was 23, and we got married at 28. He is now 32 years old. He is a physiotherapist, and I work as a wedding planner. And I should say I love my job. I mean, organizing the most important day for a couple and watching the happiness in their eyes makes me feel really happy. I would never choose another job. I would always choose to do this one because it fulfills me. I knew my husband from common friends. We used to go out together at first as friends, and then things changed, and we understood that we were meant to be more than friends. Well, we loved each other, and what I loved most about us was that we didn't feel shy in front of each other. We used to have so much fun and try new things in bed all the time. We had this great passion I can't explain with words. Every time I saw him, I was thinking about what we would do next in the bedroom after going home, his apartment or mine. After some years, like 3 years, we started living together. Living together felt so great. We woke up together and slept with each other, and that was the greatest feeling. I would not change that for anything else in the world. I was having the greatest time of my life, but that wouldn't last long. During those times, everything in my life was going great. I had the person I loved by my side. I was having a great career, and all of my family and friends were good, so I would not ask for anything else from God. However, at a point, things would change. Beautiful things don't last long, they say. With me, it was my fault that they didn't last long. I have been married for 2 years, but me and my husband have been living together for almost 4 years. The first years, like I said, were great, and I was so happy. We would go on dates together, go on adventures together, and many other things. We loved each other so much, and we had great sex with each other. Sex was one of the most important things. We never got tired of each other. But during the last year of living together, things began to change. My husband was experiencing some issues at work, and he was most of the time busy working. He didn't just work in the office. He started working at home too. He didn't have time for me anymore. And that hurt because I was used to going out with him, going on trips together and all. But we were not doing those things anymore, and I was really getting bored and upset because this kind of life was not meant for me. I didn't like that kind of life. The most problematic thing was that he didn't like to have sex with me anymore. He would always find justification to not do it. And I didn't understand how we came to this point. From a couple who would like to experiment in the bedroom to a couple that does not have sex like at all. I tried to talk to him and understand how we could sort things out, but he just told me that he was just going through a hard time at work and it had nothing to do with me. He asked me to be patient and understand him, but sorry, what could I do? Stop living until he finds the time? I couldn't do that even if I loved him so much. Several times I asked him to come with me to go on trips or just go out together on weekends, of course, but he didn't accept. So I went out alone with my friends and I decided to have a lot of fun. I would not live my life as he wanted. I was really sorry, but I could not do that. When I got out, he would get mad at me and ask me why I was doing that. But I think that question doesn't make any sense. I was going because I wanted to live my life. I could not stop living just because he was busy and suddenly didn't have any more time for me or for us. Even on weekends, he didn't have any time for me. But he knew me. He knew I was not the type to stay home and wait for things to change. Sure, I would talk to him and try to sort things out, but I would not spend my valuable time staying home and waiting for him to be back like he used to be, or waiting for him to finish his project. My life was still my life. That is why I decided to go out more with my friends. He would not be jealous about it because he wanted me to have fun, but of course he didn't like me going out so often to dinners, clubs, and parties alone. Every time he said something about it, I would tell him you are more than welcome to come with me if you want, and if you have time. His complaints started to become more frequent, and it was giving me a hard time, but he had no right to. Just because he was not living the life we used to, he could not ask me to stop living my life the way I wanted. It is not the way a healthy relationship works. He would bother me almost every time I went out, telling me it was not right, and that I was never home for him, or that I was not supporting him and those kinds of things. Anyway, guys, I'm the type of person who has long ago decided that I would live my life following my rules, and I would always put my happiness first, no matter what. I took this decision when the man who had been my boyfriend for years cheated on me with my best friend. You see how people that are closest to you can cheat on you and disrespect and hurt you the most. So what was the point of doing things thinking for others in the first place? I was planning to do that never again. I had done everything to support my ex-boyfriend and be there for him any time that he needed me. And also my best friend was like the sister I never had. I would go to her every time I needed someone, and I would talk to her about everything that ever happened to me. So yeah, I had stopped believing people so much, and I had stopped putting myself second. Yeah, of course I loved my husband and I trusted him, but I loved myself first. Every time he told me I was going out too fast, I would tell him that I was not doing anything wrong. I was just enjoying my life. Anyway, I have never thought about cheating on him because I have been cheated on, and it felt horrible. I would never want my husband to feel the way I once felt. But life has a strange way of driving you into things you never wanted to do. Or maybe this is just a way to justify myself. Now you will all judge me and make me feel like the worst person in the world, but all I ask is a little support because I have had enough of being judged in the worst ways possible. Here's what I did, guys. One of those nights that I went to parties with my friends, I thought having a little more fun in another kind of way, by feeling another man near me. So I went to this party, and I decided to have a lot of fun. I danced a lot and I drank a lot. I was not very drunk, so I did most of my action in full conscience. While at the party, I knew this guy who was called Oliver. He was a tall, handsome boy with blue eyes. I danced with him a lot, and he caught my attention since the beginning of the party. I liked him, and I don't know why, but I started fantasizing about him. Sexual fantasy. Then we started dancing together and getting closer and closer to each other. I was feeling his body on mine in a way that made me feel horny. I thought that a little fun would not hurt my marriage. And by fun, I mean sex this time. My husband was not completing my needs lately. Maybe that is why I was feeling so sexually attracted to someone else. Oliver was 33 years old because we talked a little that night and then we did a lot of other things. He was feeling as horny as me, and I could notice that he was sexually attracted to me the same way I was to him. Later during the night, he invited me to spend the night with him at his apartment. And yeah, I said. I did that thinking that would not harm anybody. I know I will be judged, but let me tell you this. That night was a night to remember. I had so much fun. It had been a long time since I last had sex like that. It was crazy, and we couldn't stop like we were never tired. That night, I told my husband that I would sleep at my best friend's home. When I went home in the morning, I was really feeling guilty, but I also could not resist Oliver. I thought I wanted to see him again. I talked to my husband, and he told me everything was fine and he was working. He promised me that his overloaded work would be done soon and he would be all mine. I went near him and hugged him. The feeling of shame and guilt grew bigger inside me. In that moment, a text message came to my phone. It was Oliver. He said that last night was amazing and he would like it to be repeated. He was a single man living life according to his rules, and I was a married woman, but still, I wanted that night to be repeated as well. So I told him the truth. Let it be repeated as soon as possible. Then he replied, I can't wait to feel your body on mine. I was horny just reading the messages. My husband was not a jealous type, and he always had been supportive of me. However, lately, like I told you, he would not like me to go out so often without him. But when I told him you can come with me if you don't want me to go out alone, then he started talking less and always asking me if I was okay and if I had fun. So my feeling of guilt became bigger because he was treating me so right and promising me that he would finish his work things as soon as possible and then be all mine and we could do whatever I wanted. But the sense of guilt didn't stop me from meeting Oliver again. We met after 2 days at his apartment, and as soon as he opened the door, I jumped into his arms and started kissing his lips. We didn't say a word because our lips were busy kissing each other. I liked him so much. And again, first we had sex. Not just sex, but amazing sex. Then we talked a little. We didn't talk much because between us it was just sex and fun. And then each other intimated his way. Every time I saw him, I thought it would be the last time and I would not meet him again. Then I would meet him again, thinking that it was just fun. My husband would not find out, and it would not hurt anybody. But I was wrong. Cheating on someone is always a wrong choice, even if they can never find out. Hurting people is never right, and I learned it the hard way after I destroyed my life, after I turned it upside down with my biggest mistake, cheating on my husband. This story with Oliver continued for 5 months. We would meet each other 3 and sometimes 4 times a week. For 3 months, we met at his apartment because he was living alone, until he decided to help a friend in need. Because he was also a good person, however, I would never be in a serious relationship with him. He really had a good heart, and I also liked it about him. So yeah, the last month of our affair, he decided to help his childhood friend who was coming in town but had no place to stay. So he invited him to his place, and we had nowhere to meet anymore. You may be thinking we still had hotels. Well, I didn't like them. Oliver asked me please to meet me again, and honestly, I wasn't ready to give him up. My husband was still working very late and very much, and we never went out. I continued going out, but I would not go to parties anymore or clubs where I went to meet Oliver. However, I was in a situation where I had to find a choice, end that affair, or find a solution about how we would meet. And I decided I would find a solution about how we would meet. Since my husband was not home most of the time, he was working every day very late. I had our home so I could invite him over before my husband came home, and that was what I did. My husband was not being jealous anymore, and he was not giving me a hard time. Instead, he was so kind and respectful, asking me all the time to understand him and be patient because this hard period was coming to an end. Little did I know that he was just acting, and he was more jealous than ever. He was just spying on me to find out if I was cheating. I remember one time he asked, "Where do you mostly spend time with your friends?" Jay didn't understand at that time, but he had spoken to some of my friends and they told him that I was not going to parties anymore, and that I was being a good-behaving wife. So that was just a provocative question just to see what I would say. Anyway, I found out about all these things later when my life got upside down and I was left alone with no one to go to, because everyone judged me and turned their back on me. Jobless, homeless, and with not a place to call home or a person to call mine, even my family turned their back on me. I know you must be curious and for sure and want me to go straight into the story and tell you what happened. I will tell you now. My husband had installed hidden cameras in our bedroom, and he watched me having sex with my affair in our bedroom. In the same bed I had sex with my husband. In the same bed we slept together every night. It does not end here. He took that video and posted it online where everyone could see it. He did all those things in such a clever way that I didn't notice anything. He didn't come to me shouting. He didn't say a word to me, not even one. But the day he had posted the video, I noticed everyone at work looking at me strangely. Then one of my colleagues, who was also a friend of mine, came to me and showed me the video. I didn't say anything. I just took my bag and went straight to our house. I tried calling him, but his phone was turned off. When I reached home, I found him ripping my things. Some of them, and he told me, "Don't worry, your things are not all destroyed," and pointed to my other things, which were already packed. He told me, "Take your things and get lost from my apartment and from my life. I never want to see you again." I felt so ashamed, but I still asked him to delete the video from the internet. I told him I was sorry. I didn't mean to hurt him. But he said that he would never delete the video because I deserved it, and everyone needed to know what kind of woman I was. So yeah, I cheated on him, thinking it was harmless fun. But his unexpected revenge shattered my life because it doesn't end here. I took my things and got out, thinking where I would go. As soon as I got out, my phone started ringing, and it was my mom. She was so angry and said so many bad words to me. She told me that she didn't raise like that and how I could do that to my husband. She told me I was disgusting, and she didn't want to see me at their home. Of course, they needed time. I knew that they would take a lot of time to forgive me for what I did. I was now aware of what I had done. His revenge was so hard. I mean, installing hidden cameras in the bedroom. Was he crazed? Posting an intimate video on the internet? Well, yeah, he took his revenge, and I was really destroyed. So to my parents' home, I could not go. I called my best friend and asked her if I could stay with her for some days, and thankfully she said yes. So I went there, and she was also very mad at me, but she didn't leave me alone. Yesterday, I went to work just to find out I was getting fired. My husband's revenge cut deep, and I deserve that. My boss called me into his office and told me that I was fired because there was this intimate video of me on the internet that affected the company's reputation, so I could not continue working there. Tears ran out of my eyes as my world was falling apart. It took just some of that harmless fun to destroy everything. I had hurt everyone, but I had hurt myself the most. Because I was the one that lost everything. It was my fault, I know. I lost my husband, my job, my home, and I lost myself. At that moment, I knew what I had done. My husband loved me, guys, but he was just going through a difficult time. I didn't support him, but I wanted to enjoy my life. The most problematic thing is that I enjoyed my life by cheating on him. So now I was left alone with no home, no family, and no job. And for time, it would be difficult for me to find another job. It's time for me to take on my own responsibilities. I was the one that destroyed my life. I didn't blame my husband for what he did because cheating is not fun and is the worst thing you can do to someone. I never tried to walk in his shoes. I chose the easy way and took the wrong turn. Now I'm sure that you all will also judge me, but I came here to look for a little support because in real life, I am alone, and the only person who is helping me is my best friend. So please be gentle with me, guys. Thank you for reading my story. Update. Hello, guys. It's me again, Some days after posting my story, I spent all of my time here reading the comments. It was true that many of you judged me in the hardest way and with the worst words. But also there were people who supported me and told me that people make mistakes, but life goes on. So I should forgive myself and live my life. Many of you wanted to know what is going on with my life, and if I have seen my husband or my ex-husband anymore. If my family has forgiven me yet. That is why I am back, because you, the people who took their time to read this story of mine and also write a comment, deserve to know what happened next. I haven't seen or talked to my husband, but we are getting divorced. He sent the divorce papers to my family home, and they sent it to me. It is a very difficult period for me because I still love him very much, even after his revenge. However, I do now think that no one deserves to be exposed like that. No one deserves the thing that he did to me, posting an intimate video online. I know that neither he nor I deserve to be cheated on, but I cheated on him. I know what I did was very wrong, and I am now paying the consequences of my actions. Anyway, guys, my family has not forgiven me yet. Sometimes I talk to my mom, my dad won't talk to me, and I'm not welcomed in their home yet. I know they will forgive me sooner or later because I am their child and they love me no matter what. Life is still very hard, not just emotionally, but financially too, because I have not been able to find a job yet, guys. But thankfully, my best friend is such a good person to let me live with her until I get a job and then an apartment for myself. You guys also wanted to know about Oliver. What happened to him? I haven't seen him anymore. Like I told you before, I didn't have any feelings for him. I just wanted to have fun in the wrong way. But I talked to him once after the video came online. He asked me what was going on and who did that. I told him that my husband did it. He told me he was very sorry, and he said that he also lost his job. But at least he was living in his own apartment. That was our last contact, and I have never heard from him ever since. Yeah, guys, this is my story. Yeah. Thank you again for all the time and your nice words. I really appreciate it a lot. Update. Hey, guys, it's me again. I am back since many of you asked for another update. First, I will let you know that I am fine since many of you asked. You also asked if I tried to contact my ex-husband anytime. I didn't try that. We are now divorced, and however, I think I will never want to talk to him again. As time goes by, I know even more that what I did was wrong, but what he did was so ugly and disgusting too. The good news is that I have found a job, but it's an entry-level job, so the pay is really less than what I was used to, and also it's not in event management. Noon in event management wants to hire me after the mess in the internet. Well, beggars can't be choosers. Guys, I'm still living with my best friend though, but I am looking for an apartment for myself. So yeah, guys, this was my story. The story of how fun destroyed my life. Please, guys, don't make stupid decisions like I did. Again, thank you very much for spending your time reading my story and for leaving your comments and support here. Much love. Hey.